Toastmasters is the place where leaders are made. Leadership goes with different attributes. The crux of the leadership is communication. There are different types of communication styles which we learn in Toastmasters. Today, I'm going to try a different communication style. It's called Soliloquy communication style. In Soliloquy, we will try to act and speak as a particular character. So we have to go into the character and speak uh, as that character. So I'm going to try that today. Generally, the people are looking for leadership, and 99% people are followers. Only 1% of the people are true leaders. They change the world in positive way or otherwise. Those who change the world in positive way, they are called legends. And people always try to follow the legends. For example, King Alexander, he was the legend. He had an assimilation type of leadership, and that message gone to the entire world at that time. Today we see he's the most followed, one of the most followed legendary leader from the history. I'm going to talk about somebody else. That person is not legend per se, but he's not otherwise as well. I don't know why he was not legend. When I was trying to go into his character, I felt otherwise. I thought he should be this part. That means he should be called legend. Let's see if you like it. I will try to go into the character and try to explain. At the end, if you agree with me, then probably I explained the soliloquy perfectly. So I'm going to talk about a person who changed the world, no doubt, but he is not called as a legend. His name is the Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte. In today's world, people have ambitions and they want to learn or they want to follow somebody. Have you seen this guy? Napoleon Bonaparte was a simple Corsican soldier. In his own book, he always mentioned himself as a simple Corsican soldier. And look where he ended up with. He was declared emperor of a kingdom which was almost second biggest in the history. Such an important kingdom. And when those people had chopped off their monarchy and went into the republic, but this person changed the stuff and he made himself as an emperor. Did you see the ambition? Do you, when I was looking at the character, I observed he was a great politician, shrewd politician, great military, genius military knowledge, shrewd military knowledge, understand the commoners, understands the nobility, understand the surrounding people and world, understand deep about religion. That's what I observed. And that made him his ambitions to grow into the emperor status. I'm trying to go into the soliloquy and I will try to explain. So at the end, if you like it, then probably I went correctly into that. So let's start. A deep pain goes inside my stomach when I'm trying to write my logs, my autobiography. Physicians say that's a medicine. I used to take that medicine from long, but they are saying it is causing the ulcer in your stomach. But still, I'm determined to write my story. I remember my childhood. My parents used to tell me we are from the minor nobility of the great Romans. My land, a small Mediterranean island, beautiful, pristine beaches, Mediterranean climate. But my region will be always under fights. From the north, the Lombardians, the Genoans, and even further from the Alps, the Austrians used to come and attack. From the east, the Papal states, the Romans, they used to come and attack. Corsicans were never considered full Romans by them. From the north, Helvetica region, those people used to come. We were always under the fight, but there were only one saviors. They were on the west. Yes, those were the Franks. Those were our saviors. When I was small, as usual, the fights were going on. Franks came. They defeated the Austrians, the Lombardians, and they declared Corsica is the Frankish land. Not everybody liked it. Even my father, he was part of the revolutionary army. His leader was the Pasquale, and he was running the revolutionary army. But ultimately, Franks won decisively. All the revolutionary went underground. Pasquale left in the Helvetica and further. My father surrendered. My father surrendered to Bourbon kingship, and we were become the part of the French army. Now I was the young, and I was also part of the artillery division in the French army. When I joined the French army, everybody started laughing at me. My height was not even compared to those the tall and blonde and beautiful, handsome. They just laughed at me. They were laughing at my accent, my Romanish Frankish accent. They were not even understanding that. But I used to always feel great about myself. I never attended such thing. I used to tell them so many great stories, and they used to love that. I was telling about the great heritage, and I had something in my mind like, oh, we wanted Corsica as the independent kingdom, but that was not the thing. But I wanted like, well, I could be king of Sardinia or Sicily, maybe. And I used to tell them the stories, and they would like that. But on the Frankish land, everything was not well at all at that time. The revolutionaries were underground. People, commoners were not liking the things at all. There were unrest everywhere. I myself was part of the Jacobins, myself and my father. I used to attend their meetings. Frank was our leader. We followed everything what Rousseau and what Voltaire said. The revolutionaries did not like the king. But I was wondering, I said, those kings are same everywhere. What's different? These kings are not different from the outside. I personally did not like Louis, any number, but I didn't feel any different there. Every day, some kind of unrest used to happen. One day, all the commoners went on the Versailles Palace, and shouted slogans, bread, bread, bread. After a few days, we heard the story that the answer was given that if you don't have bread, then eat cake. And then trigger happened. When I was thinking about it, I personally felt the Frankish land, the land of wine, grapes full of water and Mediterranean climate. When does this happen that people don't have bread? How did this happen? And if you don't have bread, the person sitting in the palace will say, oh, you don't have something, take this. What is in the palace? There was a cake. So he said, take cake. That might have happened. I interpreted it that way. I didn't understand why is that pro happen or what's the trigger. Didn't we understand the sarcasm? But I mean, nobody was asking me, and things went totally against the Bourbons. When I thought, okay, what's exactly happening? Many things were happening. The king's house was divided. They had mixed heritage. The Prussians was not happy with the Bourbons. The commoners not happy with the king. Protestants not happy with the papal Catholics. Then I wondered why not the brothers, cousin brothers across the channel are not helping the Bourbons. That everybody was wondering. The secret support and finances given on the West was hurting deeply. People were not happy. There was a cartoon at that time was depicted. The French soldiers were standing like this on the mound of the snow, and he was watching the fertile lands on the south. They were not winning any big lands. Things were not going well to the Bourbons at all. And the revolutionary one, Max, was unbeatable. In no time, Jacobins removed the monarchy, and not even that, the things kept on continuing. We saw that everybody got chopped off, including the monarchs. Oh my God. I was wondering, like, I saw some historians, they had even Vandalic time, they did not do this kind of violence. And what's happening in this land, in the land of Gauls? How that's possible? Gaul, the land on the west of the Romans. We always love them. They used to follow the Romance language, the sweet language from the land of Rome. Whenever we get the attack from the north of the Alps, those Almania Magnae, those Jutlanders, those Angels, those Sverre, whenever they come with their big horns and cross the Alps, the Gaulish used to help us. Even when the Caesar went to the north and they defeated the Celts and pushed the Picts into their land, the Gauls helped us. The Britons, they helped us. They renamed that region. We named that, we created those cities, the beautiful Londonium. We created the Stonehenge. Whenever, even when the Romans were spreading the word of God, those from the across the Alps, they never followed. In even thousands of years, they didn't follow. After that, they accepted it, but forgot in 400 years, less than that. Then people across the Alps never forget. Romans are not calling uh, Thor as the king of God. Whenever they got chance, they went to the same place. But the Gauls were different. The Franks, they were different. We always loved them, and we were always wondering, oh, what a beautiful land and so different. Because we Romans always have a pride that we were the first one to declare the republic. Caesar was the first one to declare the republic. We gave the personal freedom. We give the freedom to the people, republican freedom, which never was there anywhere. But the Gauls were different. They had personal freedom even at that time, not just a political freedom. Romans or Caesar gave the political freedom. He declared a republic, but the Gauls had personal freedom. That's why that land was called France as a free, and everybody would be admiring that. So what was going on here? I had an interesting story because I when we used to go to Rome in my childhood, and Rome is the place where all the routes comes and meet. So we used to see many types of people there. I used to have interaction with many types of culture even I was small, and they used to tell different types of stories. Rome is the place where you will meet everybody. So when I was a child, I heard a very interesting story. The Eastern Front of Frank from Eastern Front was coming and telling a story, and he was telling that, well, on the far side there is a deep mountain, there's a land and there's a deep mountain, deep jungle. Nobody goes there. But if you go to the mountain, you know what is there? There are big caves, and in those caves there are so many beautiful sculptures. And do you know what kind of sculptures? That nowhere it can be. Nowhere. Literally, those sculptures are from heaven. People were saying, what? Sculptures are there. But he said, no, those are very special sculptures. Even outside people doesn't know or they know, don't go there. And those sculptures are from heaven. That kind of, he was telling, those must be the Franks. Those people, those angels, when they fall down from the earth, they must have come to the Frank land. That's why the Franks are so free. Well, I did not got that, but it was such a beautiful land. And so what's going on? I mean, we couldn't believe this has happening. Everybody was chopped off, and they brought directors. So they wanted to run the country like a directors. I told him, oh, look at the northeast, those Ulanda land. They are running the country like directors in 16th century, and they're so successful. But here the directors was like a circus. Those were all puppets. The revolution and the egalites, everything was fine. But things were not well at all. I was thinking, look, they need a king. They need a king. I told him. I thought in my mind. Well, Pasquale's men were sometimes were meeting us. I was in the French army. Afterwards, I was put in charge of a expedition in the Roman land. And we won, decisively won, and that was kind of a check for the Austrians. People loved it. I was admired. And now what happened? They chose me for the one of the most important expedition. That was the expedition on the southern lands, the land of Egypt. I felt so good. I was the in charge of that. I have. heard many numerous stories about the southern land, those great pharaohs, those great pyramids, those magical things. Those I would love that. I was very eager. I was so enthusiastic when I was chosen. As a preparation, I told them a I need scientist, linguistics, and archaeologist. People laugh. What are you talking? I mean, don't you need artillery and the ships and vessels? They come normal. I wanted these because I wanted to get victory there. I wanted to achieve the victory. And certain places, the victory goes through the heart. I knew that. I heard those magical stories. I told him I wanted this. I will be in charge of the expedition on the southern land. And we went. Land of Egypt was under English at that time and governed by the Ottomans. But we went and we won. People loved me. I started learning the language. I started learning the culture. We did the excavation. And what we found, oh, such a treasure. We found the Rosetta Stone, which was the mystic language, three languages it was inscribed in. I sent it to the museum. I always felt, or rather, all Roman people always felt. This was the common notion in the Roman people. If, if and only if the King Alexander of Macedonia was actually a Roman, we would have reached the eastern end of the Silk Road and we would have won the entire world at that time. We always felt that. Just the King Alexander should have been from the Roman land. When I was in Egypt, I was able to see the East. I knew, I have the understanding. If if I take the scriptures in my hand, if I can bow, the direction of East was calling me. I was getting several proposals, several opportunities were knocking. If I take the scriptures in my hand, which I was capable of, what happened in the West to the empire? Same thing will happen in the East. Empire will collapse in the East as well. Two empire collapse and the entire East. Wasn't that Alexander? And even the empires understood that empire can collapse if Napoleon marches east. What I can do? I was seeing the opportunity. I didn't like the directors, even I would have got the support. People, nobody was liking directors. What I will get? I was in such a dilemma. But now I think I got a proposal. I saw I have some friends there. We declared Egypt as a victory. Even we did not control that. They told me go to the north via east, follow the Mediterranean. You will learn a lot. And we did it. I crossed the Sinai, the Holy Land, and went up to the Turkish land, following the Syria and all other regions. When I came back to France, people were jubilous. They, they, I was held like anything. After that, there was a small coup, and the directors left. And do you know who was in charge? The guy whose height was people laughed at, whose accent was not understood. That guy, the Napoleon Bonaparte, was declared as the first consul of such a great empire. It was so honor. I immediately took charge. I created so many different ideas. I implemented them. I implemented the Napoleon Code of Ethics. I improved the education. I learned the people. I knew I need support from Papa. I always the great follower. We have a problem. We had such a big land on the west, but it was all in turmoil. There was no way we could have. There was no way we could have such a big chunk of land, but the military was not at all prepared to, to secure it or do anything with it. If anybody, any force on that land comes and try to seize it, there was no way we could have solved it. We can't lose that big chunk of land because we had traversed the map and we started from the Mississippi and reached to such a big land. There was some political solution was required, and with the help, they achieved it. First time in the history of the humans, first time such a big chunk of land was sold as on deed paper, not through personal union, not through army. Simple transaction. Such a big chunk of land never happened before in the history of the humans. We achieved it. I wrote in my diary, if the humanity followed this advice to solve the problems in an economic way, lots of bloodshed and war will be stopped. With that his kind of victory, everybody liked me. And now I was not just a consul, but I was chosen as an emperor. Such a great feat. I remember the 18th, 9th century, great King Charles Magne. It was his feat. I tried to, I was trying to get into his crown, and all the nobilities around me or around our region accepted that. It was not possible early otherwise. Those kings, they all are connected. Even they fight all the kingdoms from everywhere, the royalty was connected. They wouldn't have agreed such thing that Charles Magne's crown is worn by some commoner, but they accepted in front of me. I need the alliances. Josephine take care of a lot of things. It was such a great feat to wear the great King Charles Magne's crown. Even the West was secured, but East, it was so turmoil. We could have ignored that, but our mission and aim was to maintain the peace, keep the peace. When they were calling us, we went there, not for the acquiring, but keep the peace. I went up to the Rus, up to the Moscow. We had several victories. On the east, there was economic solution was not possible. There was the military required. And I drove the military because I know military runs on the tummy. They needs the motivation. They need the constant encouragement. I never hesitated. Even in the middle of the night, in the snowy night, I could go into any ordinary soldier's tent and have a beer with him or have wine with him. People loved me. Days passed. We are having tremendous success on southern, eastern, and western part, but things kept on happening. The animal and enemies were propping up. Now the Republic, French Republic was stable. I I faced numerous problems from now the inside, and that was I lost a lot of supports. They blamed me for all the everything. They put me on the Elba Island, but they again took me. And because they wanted to do the Waterloo, I told them, "What are you doing? This is such a stupid military move. We cannot do anything in the Waterloo." That's what they wanted. Okay, but I had a fulfillment. The commoner, ordinary soldier from Corsica had won the crown of great King Charles Magny. I swear my allegiance with the God always.